Hi, I'm Benjamin Kallenberg, consciousazine.net. So, I call gang stalking frequency stalking. Have you ever noticed that, them, THEM, trivial humans establishing mayhem. Have you ever noticed that they, the Black Alliance, frequency discoordinators, oppressors, frequency controllers, organic portals, human prison bars, the walking dead who believe themselves to be alive, but really they've forfeited their spirit, they've given themselves away. Those people, the them, they. Have you noticed that they always seem to turn up when you're in your highest frequency? Like if you're pinging, ping, 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 out the crown, the he sound, he is cranking off to the stars, your electrical signal, like your radio signal, you like this little radio to your star systems, back and forth, through the crown chakra, and communicate with the stars because you're a souled hue man of the hue. So that inclines and denotates, a laying back on bed of light, a operating on, sub platforms, and different electromagnetic wavelength platforms, like how your cells communicate in infrared. But then people associate possibly indigoism with, the indigo and violet rays, which science doesn't really distinguish between barely because it's so close. It's 450 nanometer and 420 nanometer, so they almost like the same thing. But yeah, and then it's on to white light, and ultraviolet light's really good for your blood enhancement, like super alchemical superconductive enhancement, kind of like Ormus monoatomic gold drinks done right with Celtic sea salt or something, and like colloidal silver in with it. Anyway, when you're pinging, have you noticed that they show up? That's when they appear. You can be out anywhere, any town, any place, any city, whatever, anywhere in the world. They're everywhere. They're in every creed, culture, race, species. That's a little souled cat for sure. I wouldn't have him otherwise. And he came to me synchronistically. Very, very smart cat. He's amazing. How telepathic. So they are, also telepathic or psychic, the organic portals, right? That's why they suddenly appear. But they're not conscious of it. See, the difference between us and them is we are conscious, or collective conscious creation, and they're like the collective unconscious reactionaries. So there's another perspective on them. But anyway, and also we're the sphere of understanding, The souled humans have made all the visionary enhancements to install into society new programs and upgrades. Like Descartes, Rene, coming along with a vision from an angel, a vision, yeah? He didn't learn it from the blackboard. An angel taught him calculus, you know what I'm saying? And then we conquered nature with that. Like the original vision said, you can conquer nature through measure and number. And he created calculus at the rate a graduate student now learns it, which is pretty amazing, So it was like automatic, channeling. That's the great Rene Descartes, a science man of your empirical world. The control matrix system world, So even their that's how they steal our ideas, organic portals, and then use it for implementing control instead of abundance to keep their control. It's always, they make it scarcity based somehow. And it's very interesting. And, have you noticed that they show up when things are high vibrational? For instance, here's like a real random example, but it's a definite good example. The electric car. It was free energy car. We could have had that 30 years ago now, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It's 2020. We're not even driving in Jetson cars we could be. We could be flying. Relig off. Please, not relig on. Eh? Relig off. I hope you've seen that picture. Relig on, relig off. Anyway. It's a meme for religion slowing us down. So anyway, because it's used as another control scarcity thing. So follow this man so that Jesus was raped on the cross and raped his own spirit that he was supposed to nurture. Yes, I'm sure it happened that way. To follow a man is not what he would have wanted anyway. The current Christ energy is Maitreya Christ, and I carry that. I'm a carrier of that energy. That's how it works, okay? And no, Laura Knight, he wasn't a wicked priest, he was a shaman. And that's the stupid Buddha view always of a Christ shaman, that he's a wicked priest, because you guys are fairly disconnected, and that's why you've almost fully escaped the earth sphere via the moon chain, and the conquering of emotions, but really being apathetical and hiding behind not doing and not, giving and pushing society forward. The Christs are like me. We always speak out. We're always like, no, that's wrong, or that's crap, But the Buddhas are there, just, it's a kind of disconnection, right? Anyway, so, have you noticed that when you're pinging, really high vibrational is when they show up. That's when they always appear. You can be in the car park of some shop, you're happy to go in and buy something, and suddenly, organic portal, click of a finger. It's like I've said before, it's like you have a high vibrational snail trail, but I think a better way to say it is, and they pick up on that, but a better way to talk about it is, pheromones are bioluminescent. They're luminescent. It's light. The pheromones, your stink, your smell, your attraction, like if a girl can like your smell, for instance, and what I'm trying to say is maybe we have some kind of higher light in the pheromones. It may not even be just the photonic nature of the pheromone luminescence. Maybe that because we're the soul human, we have that beyond the fifth dimension, higher light embedded in there. And maybe, and the vibration thus is higher. And, I think they pick up on it like that. So I'll upgrade the metaphorical analogy from snail trail to they're like moths to our luminescent pheromones, right? And people have said that before too. They turn up like moths. They're like moths to our flame. Yeah, it's very interesting because that's the way I experience it too. And I just wanted to put that in a proper video. Anyway, I'm running out of space. This is Benjamin Cowenberg, consciousZine.net on one reason why I call gang stalking frequency stalking. Notice that they always appear when the high vibration is, pulsing through, when you're in a high vibe, good mood, and so on and so forth, and or things are going well, smooth or good. And then they appear. So, it's part of a surface virus installed to be an adversarial honing device as well, a mirror and all this other stuff like stabilization function, the organic portal hive mind nature, but has been corrupted. And that's what we talk about in gang stalking, and really because it's a stabilization function that's corrupted, the obvious problem then is and must be, and it is, that it's too much stasis. Too much status quo is another way to say it. See that in societal context. But it's too much stasis. And it's definitely associating now with feminine as well. and feminine stasis as well. Pretty interesting. You know, that man energy, and man energy is very direct, and I've also said man is head of spirit. I agree with that statement, and woman is head of creation. But as creation, and they chat too much, maybe created too much stasis, asteroid came. Just an example. So anyway, no, I'm not being misogynistic. I'm just explaining the energies. So what's interesting is that when you're on a high vibration, they show up. I call gang stalking frequency stalking, and that's how I've experienced it all through my life. When I look back through my childhood and so on and so forth, you'll always notice you're like real happy and pinging, and like you're not in pain, and then they bring you back down. I've talked about how they bring you down dimensionally, squash you onto the surface. Then they can take the literal particles, because that's where the particles exist, on the surface. Physical reality is the surface. That's where the particles are exchanged and the energy stealing is really happening. And the loosh would be contained, I think, in the photonic energy. It's like that. There's an embedded process down into, particularized particles. Anyway. So, I call it frequency stalking, and I think that bioluminescent example I gave is probably the way that it's happening. If you want a pragmatic physical thing, I think it's that our higher light would be embedded in the pheromones, and it raises the vibration or something of the pheromone, basically, and, comes out as they feel that as uncomfortable, because it's a vibration going through their system. It's like when I do healing, if I stand on earth and I start to shake, and your big toe, the knuckle of your big toe, which you're on the ground with, right? When you're grounding, I'm in shoes at the moment, and when you're grounding, you feel the vibrations coming off you, and you Morse code with your big toe to the earth, like Morse code. Beep, 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 this is what's wrong. And you start to feel all the pains in your shoulders, and your body, get less and negative charge and become less positive charged. So in other words, no charge. Negative is no charge. You're not like all charged up, and you feel all the effects of negative charge and all that. The clarity, the alignment of one anion, one negative ion aligning 1 million water molecules, and so on and so forth. So obviously that allows for the higher light to ricochet through your system better, so it's not like all a distorted, attenuating signal. So you can better carry the higher light, you might say. That's why it's important to ground and drink good water. So what I was saying was, reasons like that are reasons, and because we meditate and so on, are reason, and we're grounding, we're anchoring light to the planet, remember? All us light worker soul humans. And, we're working in light, literally. And so what I'm saying is we all have this higher vibration, and I think that would be embedded in whatever the pheromones are made out of, right? So it's possibly even detectable. But like our different vibrational trails, and when you look at aura cameras and all that, we should be able to get to the bottom of this in a pragmatic fashion in this way. BenjaminCowenberg, ConsciousZine.net, showing the way.